Welcome to this edition of Rattling the Bars, a show that amplifies the voices of people who are disenfranchised, marginalized, and subjugated while offering solutions. I'm your host, Mansa Musa. Joining me today is Jon Ponder, founder and CEO of Hope for Prisoners. Hope for Prisoners assists with reentry by providing formerly incarcerated long-term support and services as they work to reclaim their lives, families, and standing in the community. Welcome, Jon.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
All right, and for full disclosure, I met Jon when I was in Vegas visiting Dominique Conway, and a friend of mine connected me, told me I had to reach out to Jon when I got into Vegas. So we ultimately connected, and he was gracious enough to have me come to his workplace, I want to call it. And it's a remarkable place. The work that you're doing I'm familiar with it, and I'm doing some of them same myself. Tell our audience a little bit about Hope for Prisoners and how you came about that concept.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And again, I just want to make reference to our time that we spent here in the office. I thoroughly enjoyed our conversation, right? Because when you get two people that's working on the same page, I could sit up and talk to you for hours. So, so our organization, Hope for Prisoners, we work with men, women, and young adults that are exiting different arenas of our judicial system. And what we do is to provide the supportive services to help the men and women to successfully reintegrate back into the home, back into the workplace, and ultimately to help them to be stand-up leaders out into the community. So I founded Hope for Prisoners back in 2009. It was birthed out of my own personal experiences. You know, I was a guy who was coming in and out of the system since I was 12 years old, been in and out of every different juvenile systems in the state of New York, multiple jails, prisons here in the state of Nevada. And then I got stretched out in the maximum security United States Federal Penitentiary behind 50-foot walls. So coming in and out of the system all that time, I made a whole lot of mistakes trying to get life right, and I would violate and go right back to the prison system. But it came a time on that journey where God taught me tremendously valuable lessons from all those mistakes that I made. And those lessons that I learned, it helped me to live life on a whole different level. So what my passion in life is, the reason why I founded the organization, is to turn right back around and help the other men and women who were facing those same challenges that I once had to face, to do everything I can to remove the barriers that are preventing them from being successful, and to help to escort them up to the next level of life.
And and like you said, by your own admission, right? I did 48 years in prison prior to getting out. And at some point in time, I had to come to the realization that what I did that got me in prison is not going to get me out. And if I do get out and hold on to it, it's not going to sustain me. Talk about how your program offering sustainability to men and women coming out.
Sure. You know, one of the things that we've learned, and again, speaking from my personal experiences, is that the vast majority of people from this segment of the population, they really do want to change, but they have no idea how to do it. So for so long, we've been telling people in this segment of the population to come home and be a productive member of the community.
Yeah, that's right.
But they have no idea what that looks like, right? Or we tell them sometimes even get a job, and some of them have never worked a legitimate job a day before in their life. Or we ask men to come home and take their rightful positions in their home as the husbands and fathers that they need to be, but they have no healthy reference point up in here of what that might look like. So what it is that we do is we provide them with the tools that to not only get a good job, but it's important that we help them to maintain that good job, but we also lay down the foundation for which people can build up this brand new life to where they never, ever, ever reoffend again.
And that right there, that foundation, what do that foundation look like? Now, let me give you an example. All right, I work in this organization called Voice for a Second Chance. What we do, we provide, when men and women come out of the system, we help them get their critical documents and try to stabilize as much as possible. We're not in a position to provide everybody housing, but we create a housing mechanism for people.
Yeah.
But our foundation the foundation that we have is that we let the people coming in know that if you follow the directions that we offer you, you will be stabilized. Not like tomorrow, but you will be stabilized. What's that
Sure.
foundation look like for you for hope?
Yeah. So again, it's the training. It's the complete wraparound services.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we train very intensively on things like the importance of winning attitude, the attitude about their past, the attitude
Right.
about their present condition, and how could we cultivate this winning attitude that's going to help carry them into a successful future. We train very intensively on things like how to go above and beyond the call of duty inside the home, inside the workplace, and then out there in our community. We take a deep dive into effective communication and understanding the different personality types, the
Mm-hmm.
people that you're going to be interacting with inside the home, the workplace, and the community. We also take a deep dive into goal setting and time management and banking and budget and conflict resolutions and when and how to apologize, the importance of forgiveness. And then we put a strong emphasis on leadership, teaching individuals, number one, how to lead yourself. How do you get those results that you've always wanted to
Mm-hmm.
get out of life? How do you be that leader in the family, in that workplace, and ultimately out there in the community? So again, it's those wraparound services. When we address the needs for housing, we address the needs for employment, we address the needs for transportation, and then the also very important family reunification.
That's right. How do you? Okay, so in terms of walk me through a client coming out and how do they get access to hope and walk me through that process. I just got
Certainly.
out. I heard about
Yep.
y'all. Where
Right.
would I be
Okay.
at?
Yeah, so the beauty of what it is that we do is that we have a pre-release model where
Okay.
we're in 7 institutions here in the state of Nevada, where we work with them up to 18 months prior to them even being released.
Mm-hmm.
So doing that needs assessment with them, we want to take a look at we do a risk assessment because
Right.
we want to target the people who are moderate to high risk to reoffend. That's
Right.
our target population,
That's
right?
right.
If you could make it out there in the community without us and we help you be successful, what good have we done?
right.
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 But right, so being able to get in there with them, and number one, if drugs and or alcohol had something to do with the incident offense of why you went to prison, then I
Mm-hmm.
have my licensed drug and alcohol counselors begin to work with them and do an assessment. And out of that assessment, while they're still inside, that comes up with a treatment plan. And sometimes that treatment plan on the inside looks like one-on-one counseling or
Mm-hmm.
group therapy. So
Mm-hmm.
we start all those intensive trainings while they're on the inside. And again, up to 18 months. And when they get to the 12-month mark, then we fast track them into for the next 6 months into what we built our vocational village to where
Right.
we now train them before they get out. We train them with HVAC, electrical, plumbing, welding, warehouse logistics, other manufacturing, and a masonry training program. And we built a full-scale commercial driver's license school on the prison yard.
Mm.
So what does that mean? That means that not only are we addressing the cognitive and behavior change,
Right.
right, the moral recognition therapy, but that vocational training that we have them go through, then that means that they are certified and ready to go to work the
Right.
minute that they walk out the back door. Now, when they walk out the back door, remember we were 18 months before they get out, but
Mm-hmm.
then we put them into an 18-month mechanism once they get released. You
Right.
see, it wasn't enough for us to be able to train them very intensively while they're inside, but if we release them out in the community by themselves, we will have wasted time, effort, energy, and resources.
Mm-hmm.
We do that through intensive case management and mentoring, where we have trained up well over 550 men and women from our community that are
Mhm.
serving as mentors, right? And now these mentors come from a very diverse group of people. Now, these are pastors and leaders from churches across Southern Nevada, other leaders in other houses of faith. These are business owners and business leaders. These are school teachers from our school district,
Right.
professors from the University of Las Vegas, Nevada, right down to the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. And
Mhm.
I smile every time I say that because the sheriff has given us an army of volunteer police officers that are serving as mentors.
Mhm.
Never before in the history of reentry, nowhere on this planet to this magnitude has law enforcement gotten this involved in mentoring and training people coming home from the prison system.
So
So
yeah.
it's that kind of wraparound services that we know that helps them to be successful.
How now in terms of success ratio, uh, what's y'all success ratio? Because I know from a personal experience, and like I said, I'm
Right?
in this environment where, you know, uh, people come through there, and like we say, you give them a roadmap to be
Yeah.
successful if they stay patient with it, and they deviate,
Sure.
and you
Sure.
look up and you look up and you go back through the system, or they contact you, and what happened. Well, they come up with a myriad of reasons. Uh,
Right.
what about in y'all situation, right? How do y'all?
Yeah.
How? What about that? And then how do y'all deal with people that recidivate?
Sure, absolutely. So we are very encouraged. The University of Nevada, Las Vegas, their criminal justice division had come in and they wanted to take a look at, how well we were doing. And what they did was they took a look at 522 high risk to reoffend out of that
Mm-hmm.
assessment, right? And what they determined of those 522 people that they took a look at, more than 74% of those were successful in gaining
Mm-hmm.
full-time employment and sustainable wage jobs. 25% of those were full-time employed after completing the first initial stage of what we do post-release.
Right.
And of those 522 men and women who by every stretch of the statistics should be back on the yard, only 6% of those individuals return back to the prison system. It is something that we are very encouraged by. We know that what it is that we're doing is working, but to be quite honest with you, I'm not satisfied with that, right? We're always looking for ways to improve the efficiency of what it is that we do. So we wanted to take a look at that 6% people to try to figure out why was it that they were going back. And there was two things that we found the common thread. The number one reason why people were returning back to the prison system was going back to drugs. Right.
Mm-hmm.
This is why we increased our substance abuse treatment and therapy prior to them being released. Right.
Right.
Because that's really where the rubber is going to hit the road. And the benefit of us working with them while they're inside now, when they get released, we kind of create this continuum of care. They're
Mm-hmm.
not having to go get substance abuse treatment, meet another therapy. It's just that continuum of care. And
Right.
the other reason why people are continuously going back to the prison system of that pilot group of people was that went back to the old neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm.
We have this saying, and I know you're familiar with this, that your associations determine your destination.
That's right.
If you show me who your friends are, I will tell you exactly who you're going to be 2 years down the road.
That's right.
So when someone does recidivate, again, the beauty of us being inside the system, we get to touch that person at every area, right? At every stage. So they recidivate, do something wrong, parole violation, we can connect with them in the county jail and
Right.
start wrapping our arms around them.
That's
If
right.
they have to go back up to prison, then my staff is in the prison waiting for them. So we just start all over with them on the inside, then stay with them, and then they start all over again once they get released,
So
right?
so
And
John,
and
go ahead, John.
no, please go ahead.
So what gives you this enthusiasm? How do you stay focused? How do you maintain this enthusiasm to maintain working with this population? I know for me personally, right?
Yeah.
I get burned out. I don't get burned out to the point that I'm burned out. I get my
Right.
flame go down. My passion
Yep.
is not
Yep.
where it be at all the time.
Yes.
One time I might be on 100, next I might be on 15, but I'm
Right.
still moving forward. What gets sustained Jon Ponder and to
Right.
maintain the belief that it is hope for
Right.
prisoners?
Oh, absolutely. I am a man of faith,
Mm-hmm.
and I understand that I'm walking in what God has called me to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I find my strength and my enthusiasm in Him. I get my directions from Him, and I always have to stay connected, to God. Do I get burnt out? Do I get tired? Absolutely, 100% I do. But it's important that, I have people on my team that I trust, that I'm able to delegate things out to, or who have the same level of enthusiasm
Mm-hmm.
as I do. They've climbed up into the vein of what it is that we're doing, and have caught the vision, and they stay focused with that. You ask me what it is that gives me hope, because I know and understand that if people would just give God enough of their time, God can do some amazing things with their life. When you're able to see someone who is at rock bottom in the prison system, and we have a chance to walk alongside them, and then they're in the post release phase, it's kind of, for me, like watching the evolution of life. That's what
Right.
keeps me going, taking someone from absolutely rock bottom to today they're full-time employed as an electrician journeyman, and just purchased their home and reconnected with the family, and they're taking vacations. That's what it is that really keeps us going. And the other thing is, I'll have to tell you a story about how many years ago, when I was founding the organization, I was giving birth to this thing that God impregnated me with. We were ready to get our 501(c)(3, and we needed to come up with a name for the organization.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and um, and people were asking, well, what is going to be the name? And I felt like God dropped in my spirit that the name is going to be Hope for Prisoners.
Mm-hmm.
And the people that were in the world around me at the time had said that, John, you don't want to call it Hope for Prisoners because you're not going to be able to raise money. People are more likely to donate money to get their cat spayed and neutered as opposed to giving it to prisoners, right? And they said, why do you want to name it Hope for Prisoners? And I said, it's simple. Number one, I'm doing it because God told me to.
Mm-hmm.
And then I reminded them that the mission of Hope for Prisoners, the mission of our organization, is to help to create a massive amount of people who come home from the prison system. And not only do they never reoffend again, they begin to live levels of life that most people only dream of. And when we get them there, then they become the hope for the prisoners.
I got you. And you know what I want, and that's what I open the door for the segue to my next question is, uh, how do you, what do you want to tell people that have the perspective that you do the time, you do the crime, you do the time, and it's no such thing as any type of penance that,
Right.
you know, all right, I hear what you're saying, this sound good, but at the same time, crime is on the rise, people still doing these things, and I can't get these blinders off my for the like of me because I'm thinking that, you know, it's a waste of money and a waste of time. How do you tell? What do you
Right.
tell these people that I know you come in contact with, I know you know exist?
Absolutely, 100%. And I'm going to speak from my personal experiences, right? Did just about 17 years in prison, right? It wasn't a straight shot. It was, 2 years here, 4 years here, six
Right
here,
on
county jail,
installment.
and accumulated about seven. Yeah, on life on the installment plan, right?
Yeah.
And I returned back over to returned back to the community. People, if you take a look at who I was, fully addicted to everything known to man, gang affiliated, right? I was like a monster. I was a menace to society. But then I respectfully have to say, take a look at my life today. I
Right.
mean, if I could change, someone else can change. And if you could take a look at the vast majority of people that are in our prison systems today, one day they will be coming home,
That's right.
right? And if we don't embrace them and provide the support, pour time, effort, energy, and resources in them to help them to be productive members of the community, then I think that we're missing the mark. They're coming home anyway. And I would rather have them come home, and they're coming home and being our next door neighbors. They're in the
Right.
shopping malls with us and so forth and so on. And what condition do you want that person in? Do
Mm-hmm.
you want that person, if you don't address it, they're going to be in that never ending vicious cycle of recidivism? Or do we want to do everything we can to assist them after they paid their debt to society?
Come on.
They paid the debt. They paid the debt to society, and they're coming home. And I just feel that we as a community have an obligation to do everything that we can to help them to be tremendous assets to their home, to their workplace, and out there in the community, and not a liability. And when we're able to help them to secure sustainable wage employment, because that's basically what people really want, to where they can take care of themselves
Mm-hmm.
and be able to take care of their family. And when we help them to get sustainable wage employment and they start working out in that community, what people really need to think about is that they then become fuel in the economic engine of our community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that, John. And John, you had the last word, and I appreciate that articulation and that observation, because at the end of the day, unless the person is, then you lock them away and throw away the key, they are going to return. Whatever state they return, that's going to happen. And as a
Right.
civil society, it's our obligation to look out for the least of these as a civil society.
Yes.
I think that's the,
Yes.
what all of us claim to believe at some point in our lives. We claim to believe in a higher power. We claim to believe in spiritual,
Yes.
have a certain amount of spiritual decorum. So I think at the end of the
Mhm.
day, when we look at with the work that you're doing and people in similar situations, we recognize that, like you say,
Right.
there is hope for prison. Tell our
Absolutely.
audience tell our viewers and listeners how they can get in touch with you and how they can support your work.
Oh, absolutely. So, and thank you very much for that. You can reach Hope for Prisoners. Certainly visit our website at www.hope4, and it's FOR, prisoners.org, hope4prisoners.org. Or you can give us a call at 702-292-33, I'm sorry, 702-586-1371. 702-586-1371. And there are many, many ways that you could support our organization. We do accept donations, small monthly supporters, right? You can get that information on our website. Well, the other thing that we do is we look for mentors, not only here in our local community, but we look for mentors all over this country that could become part of our mentoring program. So
Mm-hmm.
we train and equip mentors, and then they can connect with our people coming home over Zoom or over Teams
Man.
meeting, right? So this way, we're here in Las Vegas, Nevada, but you can be in Tupelo, Mississippi, right? If you had some life experiences that you feel that you'll be able to give back and help someone navigate some challenge that you have had in your life, then we would love to be able to have a conversation with you.
Thank you, John, for joining me today on Rattling the Bars. You definitely rattled the bars today, and I appreciate your,
Yes.
taking time out of your busy day. I know you're busy, taking out time out of your busy day to really educate our audience on how we, as in a civil society, we talking about a civil society. We're not talking about a draconian, dark age, unforgiving society. We're talking about us in a civil society where people like ourselves come out and making amends for what we have done. We make amends in the form of helping the least of these and being the example. You are definitely a good example. Thank you. We ask
Right.
that you continue to support Rattling the Bars and the Real News. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for watching the Real News Network, where we lift up the voices, stories, and struggles that you care about most. And we need your help to keep doing this work. So please tap your screen now, subscribe, and donate to the Real News Network. Solidarity forever.